Rück ein bisschen nach links, bitte. Adele, du bist unruhig heute.
Ich mache mir zu viel Sorgen. Das weißt du.
Worüber?
Die Zukunft.
My sister, Louise, we really loved each other. But the truth is, we were always competing. If life is a race, then she has beaten me to the finishing line. But if it is a boxing match, then I am the last one standing. Either way, we went through a great deal together, and I will miss you. Auf Wiedersehen, liebe Schwester. Barbara, thank you so much for coming. It means a lot to me.
Our families go back a long way.
Your son, the lawyer, how is he?
Oh, struggling, I'm afraid. After law school, he went to work for a fancy firm and then decided to go out on his own in Pasadena.
And what happened?
It all fell apart. Add those debts to 7 years of student loans, and things aren't great.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
You need a lawyer.
Just some letters I found in my sister's belongings. I need advice from someone I can trust.
I'll have him call you.
I really feel like with a firm such as this, sir, that I would be ready and willing to. Hello? No, not a good time, Mom. Not a good time. I'll call you later. Hi, Randy Schoenberg, here to see Bergen Brown. Sure. I'd like to make the most of the opportunities offered here. With a firm as impressive as this, I'd be extremely motivated to deliver my very best each and every day.
You any relation to the famous composer, Schoenberg?
Arnold was my grandfather, sir. But he died before I was born.
His music demands a certain quality of application. But the rewards validate the effort.
One of the things I'd most look forward to about working here is exploring your larger scale.
And Judge Schoenberg is your father.
Retired now. Yes, sir.
It's outstanding lineage, Mr. Schoenberg.
Yes, sir.
What happened in Pasadena?
Well, I took a risk. Set up my own law firm, and it didn't pay off. Working for yourself isn't all typed up to be.
So now you're ready to work with others?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's give it a go, Mr. Schoenberg.
Thanks, Mom.
I was expecting you at 6. It's 10 past.
My apologies, Mrs. Altman. It was gridlock on Wilshire.
You look tired and stressed, but you're not bad looking. You were such a skinny boy.
Thank you.
So, what do you know about art restitution?
Not a thing.
Well, it's never too late to learn. Why don't you come on inside? Have some strudel. I made it specially for you. My sister is the pretty little girl on the left, Louise, and I am the moody one next to her. My parents, Therese and Gustav. My uncle Ferdinand, who owned a sugar company, and his wife, Aunt Adele, who died so young.
Komm, setz dich auf meinen Schoß, Maria.
Adele didn't have any children, so we all lived together as one family. In a way, I had two sets of parents.
Versuch wenigstens einmal im Jahr zu lächeln, Maria. Es ist eine gute Übung für deine Gesichtsmuskeln.
The Bloch-Bauers. I found these letters amongst my sister's belongings. Look, I've translated them for you on the back.
1948.
From our family lawyer in Vienna, Johann Renesch. All about our paintings that were stolen by the Nazis.
Okay.
I read in the New York Times that things are changing in Austria.
How are they changing?
They're redrafting the art restitution laws, reviewing old cases. My sister finally moves in with me. The only problem is she decides to do it when she's dead.
At least you won't be having any arguments that way. What I mean is that, you know, how roommates, they tend to argue about dishes in the sink and stuff, and you know, you won't be having any arguments about dishes, because she's dead. So. I'm so sorry. I was making a joke, and it didn't.
Ah, here she is. My aunt, Adele. My uncle commissioned Gustav Klimt to paint her.
That's quite a painting.
It's magnificent. She was taken off the walls of our home by the Nazis. And since then, she's been hanging in the Belvedere Gallery in Vienna.
And now you'd like to be reunited.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Make you a rich woman, I'm sure.
Do you think that's what this is about? No, I have to do what I can to keep these memories alive. Because people forget, you see. Especially the young. And then, of course, there's justice. I bored you to tears tonight. 4 times you looked at your watch. You know, this was a test, and we both failed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasted your time.
I got a new job today. Baby that keeps me up at night, a wife I want to make happy.
So, why would you be interested in ancient history? Goodbye, my dear.
Struwwelpeter. Struwwelpeter, the book that you had in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother used to read that to me. Terrifying. The one about the boy who gets swept away by the wind.
A terrible adventure. Used to frighten me, too. Why don't you just take a look at these and tell me if I have a case? That's all I ask from you.
11th of April, 1948. Dear Louise Bloch-Bauer, that's her sister. The Austrian government has decided they will hold on to the Klimt portrait of your aunt and the 4 other Klimts which they insist were bequeathed to the gallery in her will, a fact which they claim as incontestable. The will itself, I have not seen. Despite my persistent attempts to do so, yours sincerely, Johann Renesch.
Her lawyer never saw the will?
Nobody saw the will.
Randy!
Hi, Mrs. Altman, hi. We just need to photocopy these just over here, okay?
Everybody here looks as if they're having nervous breakdowns.
They are. They are. I was up till 3 a.m. I did a little research for you.
I'm impressed.
Get someone on the ground in Vienna. For the first time in 50 years, they've opened up the archives. So you start by trying to find a copy of Adele's will.
Yes, and then what?
Well, the Austrian Ministry of Culture has set up a committee to review each case individually, but you need to fill out an application for them to consider your claim by the end of next month at the latest.
Next month?
Yes, at the latest, yes. I've already sent away for the form.
Slow down. You can explain everything to me over lunch.
No, Mrs. Altman, I can't do
very
lunch.
nice place. They do excellent rice pudding.
All right. These are 3 names of the top restitution lawyers in America. They're going to cost you, but without them, it's a non-starter.
No. All I have is my shop, my bungalow, and a little money I saved up for a new dishwasher. No, I can't go throwing cash at fancy lawyers.
Right. I have to go, so...
Can't you just help me out a little bit on the side, you know? Like a hobby.
There is no on the side here, Maria. This is a full-time job. This is not a hobby.
You are quite rude, you're a little uncouth, and you are completely disinterested in the past.
And you have an unusual talent for making me feel good about myself.
But you have the connection.
What connection?
Family, Randy. Your grandparents came here from Austria. You see, we share the same history. Oh, how can you see out of those glasses? Filthy. Yes, that's better. Help you see more clearly.
I see this as a possible investment for the firm.
You really think a painting that ends up as a fridge magnet will ever leave Austria?
I think it'd be a mistake not to take a look.
1 week max.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I want you back here on the 3rd.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Still working.
I'll close the shop only when I croak.
Big news. I got the green light. I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna try to find the will, and then we'll take it from there.
Oh, Randy, that's wonderful. You're chomping at the bite all of a sudden.
Yes, I am. And I have another idea. My mother sent this over. There's an art restitution conference planned for later this month. They're looking for speakers. I think you should be one of them.
What are you talking about?
Elegant descendant from one of the great Viennese families. The press would love you. It would speed things up. It'd apply pressure.
I love your enthusiasm, and after all, I'm not a spring chicken. We have to get a move on. But I'm afraid in your haste, there's been a misunderstanding.
How's that?
I'm not going back to that place. Not now, not ever.
I don't understand.
They destroyed my family. They killed my friends. And they forced me to abandon the people and the places that I loved.
That was over half a century ago.
You think that's a long time?
It would be a few days, that's it. We'd be in and out.
Randy, you're not listening to me. I would rather die than go back there, not for all the paintings in the world. Anyway, a week ago you weren't even interested in the case, and now you're all over me like a rash. What happened?
Well, against my better judgment, I think I like you.
For how long?
4 or 5 days, a week at the most. Depends on the reception I get.
What's your plan?
Nora, I'm not emigrating to the Congo. I'm going to Austria for a few days. With the firm's blessing. What do you think? I think that's a yes.
Ich sehe dich, Maria. Komm her. Möchtest du deiner Tante helfen? Machst du mir die Kette zu? Deine kleinen Finger sind gerade richtig dafür. Bald wirst du aufhören müssen, so schüchtern zu sein. Das Leben verlangt viel von uns. Dein einziger Feind ist die Angst.
Hello.
I know it's the middle of the night, but if I wait until the morning, I might change my mind. I have decided to face the ghosts.
She's complicated.
Your mom called again this morning. She wants you to visit the Holocaust Memorial when you're there.
She mentioned it already 7 times.
Well, she said to do it in honor of your great-grandparents.
Sigmund and Malvine. Oh, she had the most beautiful eyes, you know, enormous, like an owl.
It's an awfully big suitcase you packed, Marie. You sure you brought enough stuff?
If I'm going back, I might as well do it in style. Pam, darling, could you drive a little faster? I think at this rate we're going to miss the plane.
We're gonna be there 4 hours early.
Yes, but I want to buy perfume and cognac in duty-free. Look, move over there. Pam, darling, move over. Move over now.
With pleasure, Mrs. Altman.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir werden in wenigen Minuten in Wien landen. Bitte schneiden Sie sich an.
I never thought I'd come back.
Some guy from the ministry's agreed to meet me tomorrow. I'm sure he's in charge of paper clips.
We're lucky anyone has agreed to meet us at all.
You don't have to come if you don't want to.
We haven't even arrived, and you're already trying to get rid of me?
That's not what I said. I just meant you don't have to come.
Anyway, I want to go to the Belvedere to visit my aunt. The postcard doesn't do her justice.
You were born in Vienna, Mrs. Altman?
Yes, I was, yes. Just around the corner, yes.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yes, but I choose to speak English.
I hope you enjoy your stay.
I'll certainly try. There it is. The apartment on the 2nd floor, that's our home. The things this house has seen, Randy. Great artists, musicians, writers passed through those doors. Including, of course, your grandfather and Dr. Freud himself. On my wedding night, half of Vienna was here.
Mrs. Altman? I spotted your name on the list of speakers for the restitution conference and tracked it down.
And you are?
Hubertus Janin, investigative reporter. Welcome to Vienna.
Thank you.
Can I buy you a drink? I'm the editor. My little Austrian baby keeps me sane. When I wrote a piece exposing the Nazi past of our own President Waldheim, a man walked up to me in a supermarket and spat in my face. He called me a traitor. I said to him, I'm a true Austrian.
And what makes you interested in a couple of Californian tourists, Mr. Chenin?
I just thought you could do with an Austrian friend.
What for?
You know, this whole restitution thing began as a PR exercise. Austria wanted to improve its image abroad, but now it's turning into a Pandora's box.
Don't want to give away their treasures.
So they're going to put as many obstacles in your way as possible. And I might just be able to help you get over some of them.
What's in it for you? What's your motive?
Let's just say it's a very particular brand of patriotism. Now, if you will excuse me, I think I would treat us to another round of drinks.
Oh, yes, that's a wonderful idea.
Gioia mia, conne crudele, lasciati almen veder mio bell'amore.
Als mir meine Tochter Maria sagte, sie würde einen Opernsänger heiraten, einigten wir uns, dass er Mozart singt. Ich sagte, lassen Sie uns das Ganze auf Österreichisch machen. Das sind finstere Zeiten. Hoffen wir, dass dieser unvergessliche Abend unter einem guten Stern für glücklichere Tage steht.
Mazel tov!
Es macht mich traurig, dass deine Tante Adele nicht hier ist, um dich heute zu bewundern.
Mich auch, Onkel.
Wenigstens muss sie nicht erleben, was mit ihrem heißgeliebten Land geschieht. Ich möchte, dass du sie bekommst, Maria.
Ihre Lieblingskette.
Komm. Du bist eigensinnig und neugierig. Du hast etwas von Adeles Charakter in dir.
Ich werde sie immer zu schätzen wissen.
Ich bin wieder, Schwesterherz. Komm, Maria, es ist Zeit für die Torte.
Die ganze Welt ist auf der Suche nach dir.
Mach schnell, ich bin hungrig. Du musst mir anschneiden, Herr Louis.
Deine Maria ist unwiderstehlich. Der Kanzler hat alles bewilligt. Hitler hat einige Lehrerversprechen über Österreichs Souveränität gemacht, aber ich wette, dass die Nazis noch vor dem Monatsende in ihren Stiefeln um die Ringstraße marschieren werden.
Die Österreicher werden es nicht zulassen.
Ich reise am Sonntag mit Luise nach Zürich. Bis nächste Woche müsst ihr alle dort eingetroffen sein.
Es gibt viel zu tun. Wir brauchen Zeit.
Du bist wie immer ein Träumer. The Restitution Committee has decided your case is worthy of a review, Mrs. Altman.
Young Mr. Schernberg and I have traveled all this way, so we would appreciate discussing the case with the committee before they make the decision.
The committee does not interact with external parties.
And we are an external party, are we?
The paintings belonged to Mrs. Altman's family.
You must trust that all due procedures will be followed. And now, if you don't mind, I have a reception to go to. Do enjoy your stay in our beautiful city. It has been a real pleasure to meet you.
How you doing?
I don't know if I have the strength to deal with these people. And I've only been here a day.
Come on, let's go. There's no way we're gonna get a copy of Adele's will before we have to leave.
No. The archive department was not exactly helpful.
But thankfully, I have what is commonly known as a mole in the Belvedere. Someone who can speed things up. On Mondays, the museum is closed, but my friendly mole will be waiting for you. I hope you're not allergic to a little dust.
Now, didn't I tell you he was going to be useful, Randy?
Be patient, Maria. You're soon gonna find out that some Austrians are his friends, whatever their motives.
Keep working at it.
Amalie Zuckerkandel, also painted by Klimt. She was a friend of our family. She died in a death camp.
Belzec, yes. Mrs. Altman, your aunt is around this corner. Are you ready for the reunion? Rightly or wrongly, she has become embedded in Austria's identity, a national icon. Adele has become part of the country's psyche.
Aunt Adele.
Gefällt es dir?
Warum ist alles so Gold?
Vergiss das ganze Gold. Das ist Klimt. Schau mir lieber in mein Gesicht. Ist es mir ähnlich?
Ja, aber du siehst nicht glücklich aus.
Ich frage mich, wie es sein wird, wenn du erwachsen geworden bist. Wenn du eine Frau geworden bist. Ob du dich wohl mit Belanglosigkeiten zufrieden geben musst.
Österreichs goldene Adele, gemalt von Klimt. Eines unserer berühmtesten Gemälde, ein herausragendes Beispiel österreichischen Kulturerbes.
Schnell, lass uns hingehen.
Die Regierung hat neue Ausreisebestimmungen erlassen, wonach kein österreichischer Staatsbürger das Land ohne entsprechende Genehmigungen verlassen darf. Die genannte Verordnung ist seit heute früh in Kraft und wird ausnahmslos...
Mein Bruder hatte recht. Wir hätten früher fliehen sollen.
Schaut her.
Das ist die
Frau von Doktor.
Was tun Sie da? Was haben Sie mit ihnen vor?
Sie zwingen sie, den Gehsteig mit Säure zu reinigen. Und Herr Rosenblatt musste Jude auf seine eigene Auslage schreiben.
Aber warum? Warum tun Sie das?
Warum wohl, Therese? Hol mir mein Cello, Maria.
Wofür, Vater?
Das ist fast 5 Uhr. Warum sollte dieser Samstag anders sein als die anderen?
Er ist halt anders.
Ich werde nicht zulassen, dass Sie uns ein Haar krümmen.
Vater.
Das Cello, Maria.
Das Passamt wird um 14 Uhr bis auf Weiteres geschlossen. Das Passamt wird um 14 Uhr bis auf Weiteres geschlossen.
Abgelehnt. Der nächste.
Der Bruder meines Mannes ist in England und meine Schwester in der Schweiz. Wir haben in beiden Ländern die Möglichkeit, unterzukommen. Wir sind nur zu 4. Und wir müssen Österreich so schnell wie möglich verlassen.
Das trifft auf alle Juden zu. Was unterscheidet sie vom Rest? Abgelehnt. Der nächste.
Das Geschäft ist erledigt. Schreib. Mach schon. So, Juden, geschieht euch recht. Lass mich nicht tun, bitte!
Gott sei Dank. Ich muss schon Sorgen gemacht.
Öffnen Sie die Tür!
Sie sind da.
Natürlich sind Sie da. Fritz, öffne die Tür.
Jawohl, mein Herr.
Ferdinand Bloch-Bauer?
Mein Bruder ist geschäftig in der Schweiz.
Ach, so nennt man das. Ihr Bruder hat sich mit seiner Zuckerfabrik der Steuerhinterziehung in der Höhe von 1 Million Reichsmark schuldig gemacht. Seine Konten wurden gesperrt und bis der volle Betrag bezahlt ist, bleibt der Oberschütze hier bei Ihnen. Sie stehen ab sofort unter Hausarrest.
Mein Onkel ist ehrlich und gesetzestreu.
Sie sind eine Familie, welche die Kunst schätzt. Holbein. Beeindruckend. Ein Silberbecher mit eingefassten Edelsteinen. Eine Diamanthalskette. 2 silberne Kerzenleuchter. Ein Cello. Stradivari. Natürlich nur das Beste.
Nicht, bitte. Es ist ein Leben.
I could have searched for the family file on my own, you know.
I wasn't going to miss all the fun. This is like a James Bond film. And you're Sean Connery.
Hello, I'm Anna.
Hi.
Hello. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you so much for doing this for us. So you know Hubertus.
Everything from the museum records prior to 1972 is held in the same room. I think you're going to have a busy day.
Roll up your sleeves, Randy.
Congratulations. Quite a treasure trove of information.
Hubertus and I were up all night going over the file.
Well, I'm glad to see you're getting on so well together.
So now we can start to actually put together a picture of what really happened.
Maria, you're the living link to the past.
Hanging on by my fingernails.
Tell us what you know.
Adela died in 1925. Meningitis. She was only 43. My uncle Ferdinand was devastated.
And then, of course, the will. Written in 1923, 2 years before she died.
Her signature. Oh, my God.
I'll translate as accurately as I can. I kindly ask my husband to bequeath my portrait and the other Klimt paintings after his death to the Belvedere Gallery in Vienna.
So she did leave them to the gallery. Oh, Randy, you have become all this way for nothing.
One step at a time, Maria. She does in fact request for the paintings to go to the Belvedere, but the request has a very specific condition attached to it.
She specifically asks the paintings go to the Belvedere after Ferdinand's death.
But let's tell the story chronologically. Maria, do you have any idea of what happened to your family's property after you got away?
Not at all. Unlike Lot's wife, I never looked back.
Maybe now it's time to know.
After you escaped Austria, Maria, your home became the scene of one of the great thefts of the time.
Your family's belongings ended up in the hands of the most powerful criminals of the Nazi elite.
All of our things, our personal things.
Did you know, for instance, that one of your uncle's favorite paintings, a Waldmüller portrait of Count Esterhazy...
Yes, I remember. It was hanging in the living room. I never liked it, actually.
Ended up decorating the walls of no less a place than the Berghof, Hitler's private residence in the Bavarian Alps. Or that your aunt's necklace, the same one she wears in the Klimt portrait, came to adorn the neck of Emmy Göring, Hermann Göring's wife.
Don't think I want to hear this.
The Nazis themselves were not so keen on the Klimts. They were, after all, a bit too degenerate for their taste. But the paintings caught the eye of someone with a more prescient and refined appreciation of art. Bruno Grimschitz.
Grimschitz?
The paintings were taken off the walls of your family home and carefully transported to the Belvedere. Certain facts had to be altered, like your aunt's name and her Jewish provenance, of course. For a short while after the war, she became simply known as Woman in Gold.
So her identity was stolen as well.
It wasn't enough to rob your family and try to destroy it. No. You had to be eradicated from history.
So the paintings reached the Belvedere?
In 1941. Your uncle Maria died...
At the end of the war, 1945.
So contrary to the request in Adele's will, the paintings ended up in the Belvedere well before his death.
And if I'm not mistaken, he wrote his own will before he died.
Yes, he did.
Leaving everything he owned, or at least what was left of it, to you and your sister, his only living heirs. It was one of the last things he did before he died a few days later.
Yes, but won't they argue that Adele did leave them to the gallery? So, really, we don't have a case.
Randy, why don't you show Maria our trump card?
What's this?
That is a declaration that Ferdinand paid for the paintings. He was the rightful owner, not Adele.
The paintings weren't hers to give away.
So the will is invalid?
Technically, it's not a will. It's not legally binding. It's more like a wish.
Now we need to get all this to Rudolf Rahn, the head of the restitution committee.
Yes. And then your aunt is coming home with us.
Randy, wait and listen. She is the Mona Lisa of Austria. Do you think they will just let her go?
See, we left Mr. Rand 4 messages this morning alone.
Mr. Vraan is very busy right now. You understand?
Yes, of course we understand, but it is essential that we speak with him.
The problem is, it's imperative that we speak to him this morning.
Randy, is that him?
I think it's best if you leave him a message.
Mr. Rand? Mr. Rudolf Rahn? Hi, I'm Randy Schoenberg.
This is my client, Mrs. Altman.
How do you do?
Of course. I'm so sorry I haven't had a moment to reply to your calls.
Oh, please don't apologize. You're a very important man, very busy.
There's quite a bit of new information that the Restitution Committee needs to be aware of before they come to any sort of decision on the Bloch-Bauer case.
Is there indeed?
Yes, it's all in here. I've made some observations in the margins. Excuse my handwriting.
You've been busy during your stay in Vienna.
We didn't come here to eat cake.
Mr. Schönberg, I understand you're the composer's grandson. Now, do you know what a fan I am of his work?
You're a man of refined taste, Mr. Vran.
The genius of the 12-tone compositional system should not be underestimated. Thank you for your efforts, but we have all the information we need now. If you'll excuse me, there's work to be done.
It's hard to believe Hitler once applied to be an art student here.
I wish they'd accepted him.
They're all here. The woman just coming in the door.
Yeah, Elizabeth Guerra, Minister of Culture.
With your new friend, Rudolf Rahn. Quite a turnout. They're putting on a very good show.
Welcome to the Restitution Conference. Willkommen zur Restitutionskonferenz. Wir machen hiermit einen ersten Schritt zur Rückgabe von in unrechtmäßig in Besitz genommenen Kulturgütern.
Die schöne Berglandschaft hing im Wohnzimmer unseres Hauses. Es war das Erste, was man gesehen hat, wenn man das Haus betrat.
I will never forget the day that they stormed in our house and took our paintings off the wall.
Our maid went into my mother's wardrobe and took out the coats. And she said to her, "Don't think of going to the police, because they'll be here anyway." And so it was. Some police came and other people and stripped the place.
When people see the famous portrait, they see a masterpiece by one of Austria's finest artists. But I see a picture of my aunt, a woman who talked to me about life while I brushed her hair in her bedroom. Restitution. You see, that's an interesting word. You know, I looked it up in the dictionary. Restitution, the return of something to its original state. Now that made me think. You see, I would love to return to my original state. I would love to be a happy woman living in this beautiful city. Like so many of my generation who had to flee. I will never forgive them for preventing me from living here. At the very least, we should be reunited with what is rightfully ours. Thank you.
Mrs. Altman, Dr. Bernhard Köhler. I work at the Belvedere Gallery.
And how can I help you, Dr. Köhler?
If the decision of the committee is in your favor, take the 3 landscapes. But we implore you, not the portraits.
You have grown attached to them.
We cannot imagine Austria without them.
I can.
Well, once the past has been put to right, I would be open to an arrangement with you.
Maria, may I speak with you for a moment?
Will you excuse me? I think my lawyer's getting a trifle nervous.
Please feel free to call me so we can resume the conversation.
I think we need to be careful about what we say.
Oh, you mean you think I should be careful about what I say?
A moment ago, you called me your lawyer. Most people take advice from their lawyers.
Yes, when they ask for it. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to walk back to the hotel alone.
Frau Altmann, beeindruckende Rede. Aber warum lassen Sie die Vergangenheit nicht ruhen? Ihr gebt doch niemals auf, oder? Es dreht sich nicht alles um den Holocaust.
8 heute Abend.
Ich kann meine Eltern nicht im Stich lassen.
Das ist unsere letzte Chance, Maria. Aber jemand muss uns zum Flugplatz fahren.
Ein Freund von meinem Vater schuldet ihm einen Gefallen.
Wir werden uns nie aus den Augen lassen.
Ich habe eine Idee. Aber zuerst muss ich Ihnen auf Wiedersehen sagen. Papa? Mutti?
Es ist Zeit, Abschied zu nehmen, stimmt's?
Sie wissen genauso gut wie ich, dass Sie meinem Vater nicht erlauben, einen Doktor zu holen, weil er das Verbrechen begangen hat, Jude zu sein. Sie können uns zumindest zur Apotheke gehen lassen.
Warum müssen Sie beide gehen?
Um Himmels Willen. Wenn Sie so besorgt sind, dass wir weglaufen, warum kommen Sie nicht mit?
Gut. Ich werde Sie hinbringen. Aber wir kommen sofort zurück.
Schade. Ich hatte gehofft, wir gehen alle zusammen ins Kino.
Wir haben 1 Minute Zeit.
1 Minute, das reicht.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Was darf es sein?
Mein Vater hat sehr hohes Fieber und Husten. Wir brauchen etwas, das die Temperatur senkt.
Moment.
So. Das sollte helfen. Schlüssel!
Probiert ihn.
Was machen Sie da?
Ich fühle mich schwach. Ich brauche etwas Luft. Bitte öffnen Sie die Tür.
Der Soldat, der auf der Straße raucht, gehört er zu Ihnen?
Nein. Nein, bitte öffnen Sie die Tür, schnell.
Natürlich. Ist das Juden?
Nein, bitte.
Hey!
Die versuchen abzuhauen! Schnell! Da! Halt! Halt! Aufwachen!
Da geht's raus.
Ist das wirklich der Weg zum Rathaus?
Ja. Wenig schon!
Los, hier lang!
Da sind Sie, Mann.
Vielen Dank.
Ich würde alles für deine Familie tun. Viel Glück.
Danke.
Danke. Hier, Flugscheine bitte. Sie fliegen nach Köln?
Nach Köln, ja.
Haben Sie kein Gepäck?
Das ist alles sehr unerwartet. Wir bleiben nur für eine Nacht. Mein Mann springt für Wotan an der Oper in Köln ein. Der Bariton ist krank. Von Karajan dirigiert. Wir sind sehr gespannt.
Viel Glück.
Dankeschön.
Herr Nielsen?
Eine Durchsage für die Passagiere des Fluges 12 nach Köln. Der Abflug wird sich aufgrund unvorhergesehener Umstände bis auf weiteres verzögern. Wir bitten Sie, etwaige Unannehmlichkeiten zu entschuldigen.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir beginnen jetzt mit dem Einsteigen. Bitte halten Sie Ihre Flugscheine zur Kontrolle bereit.
Es gibt Passagiere, die heute nicht mitfliegen werden. Herr Stefan Neumann und Herr Karl Neumann. Melden Sie sich! Bitte folgen Sie uns.
Meine Damen und Herren,
And this is Minister Guerra.
How do you do? Dr. Dryman here is our principal attorney on this very complicated case. Please sit.
Some cases are more complicated than others, but after much deliberation, we regret to inform you, Frau Altmann, that the committee has decided that the 5 Klimt paintings hanging in the Belvedere will remain there.
Please tell me this is a joke.
They're not joking, Randy.
Your aunt's will should be obeyed.
But that's the point. It isn't even a will. The paintings aren't hers to give away. Here, where is it? Right. We have proof that the paintings were Ferdinand's property, not his wife's, which makes her will invalid.
I think this is the one you're looking for.
And that's ignoring the fact that there's a deliberate cover-up to conceal the manner in which the paintings ended up in the gallery.
They're not interested in the facts, Randy.
Your aunt's request needs to be respected.
It's not a legally binding will.
Do you imagine my aunt would have written those words if she knew what was to come? Do you? The looting of her home, the murder of her people.
Our decision is non-negotiable. If you don't agree with it, your only option is to pursue the case in court.
Come on, Randy, let's go. Dr. Dreimann, you speak as if you knew my aunt, but you did not know her. And I can tell you right now that what you have decided today would make her ashamed to call herself an Austrian. And you should be ashamed too.
It's not America. In order to pursue the case in Austria, the government demands a deposit against the cost of $1.8 million. And that's for starters.
1.8 million?
Based on a portion of the estimated value of the paintings.
Okay, so on one hand, they're saying take us to court. On the other hand, it's financially impossible for us to do that.
Your hands are tied behind your back, yes.
What about arbitration here in Vienna?
Nobody will decide to give you back the paintings, Randy. Nobody. It's a total waste of time and money.
No more daydreaming. Thank you, Hubertus, for all your effort. Come on, Randy. It's time to go peck.
Hubertus?
Sorry.
Just checking on you.
Come in. Sit down.
How you doing?
I'm exhausted. It's what happens when you have to deal all day with a lot of grim shits. They'll never admit to what they did, because if they admit to one thing, they have to admit to it all.
Admit to what?
They were never victims. Most of them threw flowers and welcomed the Nazis with open arms, and that's the simple truth.
It's with great pleasure that I announce that Klimt's Adele will be remaining in Austria. This is a victory for the Belvedere Gallery and a victory for the Austrian people.
Oh, enough. Switch it off.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we will go home, and on the way to the airport, we will stop to pay our respects at the Holocaust Memorial. That way we will not have come here in vain.
Camp where my great-grandparents were murdered.
Treblinka. They died soon after your grandfather escaped to America. I remember them well. They had a cherry blossom tree in the garden, and she had the most beautiful eyes. Your mother reminds me of her.
Then they were taken away in the middle of the night.
Randy, we must go to the airport now.
Okay. You know what? Let me use the men's room. I'll be right back.
Yes.
My grandfather used to say the three things that he hated most in life were Hitler, his grandmother, and the Los Angeles sun, but I gotta say, everything about Los Angeles feels pretty damn great right now.
You know, if my darling Fritz was still alive, he would welcome us home with an aria. Welcome home.
To Randy and Maria.
Randy and Maria.
We did our best, and that's what matters. We did everything we could. The past is the past, and now we must let it go.
Randy. Hey.
I went for the money. Those paintings are worth over $100 million. That's why I went out there with her. I went for the money, Pam.
It's natural. But you're home now, and it's okay.
Is it?
Randy?
That's $29, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Sheridan.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Fancy seeing you again after all this time.
Belvedere catalog on sale in Barnes & Noble on Wilshire.
And hello to you too. What are you babbling
You
about?
don't understand. We got them. You can sue them here in the U.S.
Not all that again. No, anyway, Randy, I thought you said we couldn't sue them here because of that foreign state immunity thing.
I did, but I found a loophole. 3 conditions.
Which are?
When the property is taken in violation of international law.
Which it was.
Thank you. When that property is owned by an agency of a foreign state.
You mean the Belvedere Gallery?
Thank you. When that agency engages in a commercial activity within the USA.
Selling books in Barnes & Noble?
Thank you. If you meet these criteria, you can sue them here in the U.S. Congratulations, you meet them. You can sue.
Yes, but I don't want to. Oh, don't you remember what I told you, Randy? Sometimes you just have to move on.
It's a long shot. For starters, there's no precedent.
No, there is. There was one case that I found, sir. It's a Jewish family from Argentina. They lost a hotel.
The answer is no.
I have a real feeling about this, sir.
Since when have we been paying you to have feelings? It's commonly known as an ultimatum, Randy. I humored you. Let him go to Europe, I thought. Let him flex his muscles. God knows, I suppose there was a small part of me that hoped you were honest.
I think I am.
You're not. There isn't a case. There's no enforcement mechanism between the U.S. and Austria.
Just one more go, sir.
I need you here now. No more extracurricular stuff. No more Klimts.
Hi there. Hi. I'm here to file a lawsuit against the Austrian government. I filled in the summons, and that's the complaint. What do I owe you?
Yeah, that'll cost you $165. I want to go to Austria one day with my daughter. She loves kangaroos.
Maria? Hey, can you come with me for a second? I'd like to witness something. Come on. Double tap. Hi. Is Consul Brandsetter around?
I'm afraid not, sir.
Oh, well, tell him that Mrs. Altman and Randy Schoenberg dropped by. I think he may have heard of us.
What do we want with the Austrian consul?
Please inform him that I'm dropping off a summons and complaint. Here it is. We're taking the Austrian government to court. Have a nice day.
Randy, will you slow down a little, please, and tell me what's going on?
We're taking him to court.
No, you can't do this. You can't just go charging ahead like a mad steamroller.
Can't I?
Randy, stop walking so fast. I can't keep up with you. Stop. Now, I told you before, I have no interest in suing them. I have had enough excitement. I have returned to my quiet life and finally begun to find some peace again.
Say that again with conviction.
Don't be impertinent. Oh, you do annoy me. Anyway, you don't have the time for this. You have a family to support and you have a full-time job. Oh, no.
What do you mean you quit?
I quit my job. Hey, can you talk to my father? He can give us a loan, you know?
Oh, great.
Float for a few months.
Great. Just when we're expecting another baby, don't you think we're under pressure enough? We're supposed to make these decisions together. Isn't that the point?
I'm sorry. You're right. It's Austria. Something happened out there, and I don't know why, but I can't let it go. I think it's important. I'm so sorry.
Let's hope we're not wasting our time today.
You realize this is only the first stage, right? They've hired Stan Gould of Hyman Rose, which is a hotshot Jewish law firm.
Nice of them to give jobs to Jewish boys.
Trying to dismiss the case on procedural grounds, which is just a fancy way of saying we're trying to drag it out.
In the hopes that I'll die before the case comes to court.
Precisely.
Well, I will do them the favor of staying alive. Oh, Randy, can't you drive a little faster? Look, the chocolate on your donut is melting.
Right here. Mr. Gould. Hi.
Mr. Schoenberg.
An absolute pleasure, sir.
Mrs. Altman?
Dr. Dreiman, nice of you to come from Austria. That's very flattering.
I've always wanted to visit Disneyland. 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say.
I hope we make your visit worthwhile.
Mrs. Altman, may I say you're looking even younger than you did in Vienna.
You know, this morning I feel as if I have another 50 years in front of me.
All rise.
Stop it. Stop it.
Let us begin. Mr. Gold?
Your Honor, the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act was passed in 1976, a good 38 years after the events in question.
It seems to me obvious that the FSIA rulings cannot be retroactively applied, and I'm bewildered that Mrs. Altman's counsel has not advised her of this fact. It would have saved her a great deal of inconvenience and an equal amount of false hope.
No, really, it is not an inconvenience for me. Mondays is a quiet day in my shop anyway, so...
I'm glad to hear it, Mrs. Altman, but from now on, would you mind only speaking when you're asked? There are certain procedures which must be adhered to in a courtroom.
Your Honor, Mr. Gould is right to point out that the FSIA was enacted in 1976, but he's mistaken in his theory that it cannot be applied retroactively. If I may? Despite the fact that actions accruing before 1976 are rarer, they very much exist. These are just 3 examples of them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schoenberg. I'm sure this will prove to be a riveting read. Let's adjourn for 10 minutes.
This is a domestic matter for Austria. Anything else would be a violation of its national sovereignty. After all, there is a forum for Mrs. Altman to pursue her case in Austria without resorting to American courts and American taxpayers' money.
I applaud Mr. Gould's concern for the American taxpayer. But taking the defendant to court in Austria would require that Mrs. Altman be a multimillionairess. It's not an option. As a matter of fact, we've exhausted all other options. If we hadn't, we wouldn't be standing before you today.
The plaintiff has adequately proven that the FSIA can apply to pre-1976 events. Also, due to prohibitive costs, this court has decided that Austria provides an inadequate forum for resolution of plaintiff's claims.
Your Honor.
Defendant's motion to dismiss is denied.
All rise.
First hurdle down.
I've always thought there should be more women judges.
This is a setback, absolutely.
Dr. Dreiman?
Congratulations, Mr. Schoenberg. An unexpected outcome which no doubt has delighted you.
You're a very busy man. I would urge you to consider mediation.
There will be no mediation, Mr. Schoenberg. You've been exceptionally lucky today, but make no mistake, we'll take this to the Supreme Court if we have to. Good day to you.
Enjoy Disneyland.
Mrs. Altman, I'm Ronald Lauder.
The son of Este. Her lipsticks are marvelous. Stay Mocha, my favorite.
Wait a second.
I have so much respect for your campaign. The artworks stolen by the Nazis are the last prisoners of World War II, and Adele is their queen.
My aunt would be very flattered.
I was a young man when I first saw the portrait, and I instantly fell in love.
Uh-oh.
Which is why I want her for my gallery in New York.
We're jumping the gun a little here, Mr. Lauder.
All one needs to do what one can to make a favorable outcome as likely as possible. Which brings me to young Mr. Schoenberg. Now, he's been a formidable ally.
And continues to be one.
He's very smart, but I'm afraid he's not cut out for the Supreme Court, Mrs. Altman. Getting you through the complex appeal process is one thing, but Washington? Be a little like sending a schoolboy onto the front line.
You think so?
I'm willing to pay for you to have the finest representation from this point on. The man I have in mind is to art restitution what Einstein is to relativity. He's done his homework on your case. Let's say he knows his stuff. Can I ask him to call you?
You can ask him to take a hike. I'm sticking with my schoolboy, Mr. Lauder. That's final.
The repeated attempts to have this case dismissed by the defense has been nothing.
Honey,
more
we
than
need to
smoke
take
screen.
Dora to your mother's and then go to the hospital.
Should I go deeper with the boys?
Sweetie, my water broke.
What?
My water just broke.
Okay, just stay calm. Just stay calm. Are you okay?
Honey, I'm fine.
You're having a baby right
I'm
now.
aware of that. Okay, I think that you should wear this tie and this shirt to the Supreme Court. This is the one your dad got you. You need to take me to the hospital. Then you need to go to Washington. You need to do this for all of us.
Hold on. Are you sure about that?
Listen, whatever I said, I want you to know I am with you now. And even if it doesn't work out, we will manage. Either way, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're doing the right thing.
Have a cough drop. The cherry flavored. I'll leave it here for later. My dear, even if we go no further, we made it all the way to the Supreme Court. And that's quite a long way for an Austrian girl like me.
Can you please show me the way to the washroom, sir?
Good, now say it again, but with an American accent. If you say it like this, then nobody will understand you.
You can talk. You sound like a city Frankfurter.
I am a man, not a sausage.
Maria Altman. Which one of you is Maria Altman?
I am.
Huh. Telegram for you.
Es ist von meiner Schwester. Sie wartet auf uns in Kalifornien. Sie hat Nachrichten aus Wien.
Dein Papa?
We'll hear arguments next in 0313. The Republic of Austria versus Maria Altman. Mr. Gould.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court, I'll keep my argument succinct, sir. This is a domestic matter for Austria. It has no place in the American courts.
Thank you, Mr. Gould. Mr. Franks, representing the United States government. Your opening statement, please.
Mr. Chief Justice, if this law were to be applied retroactively, it could open claims brought against a number of foreign states, which would further complicate our international relations.
Give me an example.
Currently, there are cases pending against countries such as Japan and France.
So what you're saying is Mrs. Altman shouldn't try to reclaim her paintings because it would affect our relations with Japan?
That could be a possible outcome, Your Honor.
Mrs. Altman, it would seem that if your case goes forward, world diplomacy will collapse, and you will be solely responsible. Mr. Schoenberg.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the court. We believe applying the FSIA is not impermissibly retroactive.
Why isn't it just as easy to say that it does act retroactively? Because the question is, when should it exercise jurisdiction for a particular purpose?
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand the question.
I'm not sure I did either. Does anyone?
We're very sensitive to the government's concerns, Mr. Chief Justice. The can of worms argument. But each country is different and imposes different conditions. Unlike, say, Cuba, in Austria's case, there's a treaty, so there's no dispute as to what type of law could apply. We recommend opening the can and extracting just the one little worm with a pair of tweezers and then quickly closing it shut again. The defendants in this case have continuously tried to frustrate our attempts, raising every possible objection, threatening an Armageddon in international relations. But let's put things into perspective here. This is a case of one woman wanting back what is rightfully hers. Mrs. Altman came to America as a young woman in search of peace. Let's give her justice, too.
Thank you, Mr. Schomburg.
Mrs. Altman, were you surprised that the U.S. government supported the Austrians in trying to get the case dismissed?
Certain people would like me to hurry up and die. Why not the Americans, too?
David Pike, court reporter. You were impressive in there, no doubt.
Oh, thank you, Randy Schoenberg.
It takes about 3 months for the verdict to come through, but there's no way you're gonna win.
Okay.
I've been doing this job for 34 years, and I'm always right. It's in their body language.
Well, thank you very much. It's a cheerful way to end the day.
No problem.
Okay, all right, take care.
Good luck.
Okay.
Hi, Ethan.
He waved to you. Honey, can you stop looking at your watch every 2 minutes?
Hello? Okay.
Yeah. You can't give up just yet. The fight goes on. The Supreme Court ruled in our favor. We can take the Austrians to court. Thank you.
From the first moment I saw you, I knew you were the right man for the job. That's why I ignored all the terrible bits.
I thought this was the outcome you wanted.
Sure, we could take them to court. Find other ways to stretch it out, you know. This could take a few more years. She may not live long enough to see the outcome, and we can't afford it.
Honey, we've come so far. We can't stop now.
Well, there is one more thing we could try.
As a gesture of reconciliation, I am willing to allow the paintings to remain in the Belvedere. All you have to do is to admit that you took them illegally.
Yes, and then, of course, come to some agreement on the question of compensation.
I'm afraid we're not budging, and that is final.
Can you help me understand the inflexible position that you're taking?
We will not be paying for something we believe is ours. And we will fight you till the end before we concede on this.
Arbitration in Vienna.
Randy?
We choose one of the arbitrators, you choose the other. The third is neutral.
Now you're talking sense. This sounds like a reasonable idea.
Randy, may I speak with you in private, please?
Excuse us.
First, you make me agree to mediation, and now this. Are you crazy enough to think that some arbitration in Vienna is going to vote in our favor?
I honestly don't think that we have a choice.
That means we have to go back to Austria?
Maria, listen to me. I can't sit here and argue with you, okay? I'm doing what I think is best. Then you just need to be quiet for once and trust me.
No, Randy, I will not be quiet. No. Enough is enough. Congratulations, Dr. Dreimann. Your tactics have succeeded. I'm not playing this game anymore. Goodbye, gentlemen.
Goodbye, Mrs. Altman.
Yeah. Nice one, Maria, real nice.
I don't want to talk to you.
Well, the feeling is mutual, but we don't have a choice.
It's over. No, we made a mistake.
What's over? What are you saying?
I'm saying we should accept defeat and go back to what's left of our lives.
Are you insane?
I'm saying I'm tired and they can keep the paintings. What I'm saying, Randy, is that as of this moment, I no longer require your services.
Are you kidding me? I've given everything that I have. I am in so much debt. My wife and I, my children, everything I fucking care about in this world, and you have the nerve to... Everything that I've done to get those goddamn paintings back for you. I wish you'd never asked me, and you have the nerve to come here and say to me that it's over? Huh? We're so close. Just hang in there.
The Austrians will never let go. Never. But I won't let them humiliate me again. Go back to Vienna if you have to. But this time, I'm not coming with you. You are on your own, Randy.
Arbitration may be affordable, but it's also a risk. The man we chose for the arbitration panel is a safe bet, but I'm a bit worried about the other two, I can't lie. The one chosen by the Austrian state is a strict traditionalist. I can't see her deciding in your favor. And as for the third, well, it's a gamble.
Here's hoping.
But I never thought you would come back, and personally, I need to be honest, I don't think it's the right decision. You're betting on Austria having changed.
Begin in 2 Minuten.
Yeah, 2 tickets, please.
You have the same name as the composer.
What a coincidence.
The Austrian government has provided its case in writing for our producer. Mr. Schönberg, you too were offered the opportunity to do so, but you have opted to present the introductory points of your argument orally as well. The floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to be standing before you today for 2 reasons. Firstly, like my opponents in this case, I've always believed it was a domestic issue for Austria, which should be settled within her borders.
The first time I came for myself, this time I came for him.
And the second reason that I'm happy to be in Vienna, was because my client, Mrs. Altman, and I are both Austrians. Don't get me wrong, we're very much Americans too, but our families and the roots we share are situated in the culture of this very city. And somewhere in the heart of this world stands a woman whose portrait
both sides are fighting for. Adele Bloch-Bauer. During my visits to this country, I've discerned that there are two Austrias, one which opposes restitution to the victims of Nazism, but also another which recognizes the injustices committed against Austria's Jewish population and against all odds seeks to rectify it. As I hope I've demonstrated in my written arguments, the law favors restitution. A string of events and misdeeds point to the incontestable fact that the paintings in question reached the Belvedere and remained there for over half a century in a manner that was both dishonest and illegal, and that Adele's will itself was not legally binding. So in its own way, ladies and gentlemen, this is a moment in history. A moment in which the past is asking something of the present. Many years ago, just outside these walls, terrible things happened. People dehumanized other people, persecuted them, sent many of them to their deaths, decimating entire families. And they stole from them properties, livelihoods, objects most precious to them. And amongst those people were the Bloch-Bauers, the family of a very dear friend of mine. So now I'm asking you as Austrians, as human beings, to recognize that wrong, not just for Maria Altman, but for Austria.
Look at that. When I was a child, my father used to bring me here on Sundays.
Yes, me too, for waffles and ice cream, yes.
My father was an impressive man. When I was a small boy, I looked up to him, worshipped him.
And you wanted to grow up to be like him?
When I was 15, I discovered that he had been a Nazi, Maria. A passionate follower of the Third Reich. All my life, I've been trying to make up for the sins of the father. Every day asking myself how he could become the person he was. And every day trying to move away from him.
You are a fine man, Hubertus. A good man. Is that it?
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, my heart is beating.
We, the arbitrators, have now studied both sides of this complex case. Trying to keep an open mind as we examine the evidence, we have reached our final verdict. Our decision today is that the portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer and the other Klimt paintings in question should be returned to her niece, Maria Altman.
First time in a long while. I'm proud to call myself an Austrian.
Oh, you should be.
It's almost press time. How do I look?
Sexy and victorious.
Oh, yeah?
How do I look?
You look sexy and victorious.
Miss Altman, may I have a word?
Yes, of course.
I'm defeated. But I will ask you, beg you, entreat you, not to let these paintings leave their motherland. Let us come to an arrangement. I'm sure we can make a generous offer.
I too am sad that they will not stay in Adela's country. But all along, I have tried to negotiate, I have tried to keep the dialogue open, and all along you have thwarted me and closed the doors in my face. So now, I am tired. And my aunt will cross the Atlantic to make her home in America, as I once had to.
Goodbye, Mrs. Altman.
I think our friend might be needing a little attention.
Yeah. Have I mentioned we couldn't have done it without you?
No?
Maria?
In a moment, Randy.
You all right?
Thank you, my darling. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you have done. But my mistake was in thinking that it would make everything all right, make it better. You know it doesn't. Because I left him here. I left him here, my love.
Maria, es ist Zeit, Abschied zu nehmen, stimmt's? Komm her, mein Schatz.
Ich gehe jetzt.
Du tust das Richtige.
Aber ich will nicht.
Du musst leben, Maria. Du musst in die Zukunft schauen und hier gibt es keine Zukunft mehr für dich.
Amerika wird jetzt deine Heimat werden.
Ja, Papa.
And so, from now on, we speak in the language of your future. When our family came to Vienna, Maria, they were not rich people. We worked hard. We did everything we could to contribute and to belong. We are proud of what we have done, and we are proud of our children. Nobody can take that away from us. And now, as you go, I ask you only one thing, mein Liebling.
What is it, Papa?
Remember us.
Behalt uns in deinem Herzen, Maria. Und lernen wieder glücklich zu werden.
So, now?
I have been thinking about that smart Mr. Lauder. I think I want Adela to go and live in his gallery. My only condition is that she must always be on public display. That way everyone can marvel at her. After all, she is a little too big for my bungalow.
You could buy a new bungalow. Buy anything you want.
I'd like a new You are keeping the memory alive.
Well, I didn't do it alone.
Would you excuse me just for one moment?
Sure.
Kann ich Ihnen helfen?
Ich kenne dieses Haus. Kann ich mich ein wenig umsehen?
Natürlich. Bitte schön.